Pat Robertson has gotten into the act here, and he's going to have a couple of comments about Nidal Malik Hassan, the Fort Hood shooter, and this ought to be ugly. So let's check it out. Clip number 9.
Even the co-founder of the Islamic community near Fort Hood told Hassan, quote, "There's something wrong with you." Meanwhile, Pat, the Army Chief of Staff, says he doesn't want a backlash against other Muslim soldiers because of Hassan's actions.
Worry about backlash, but the truth is this guy was off his trolley and they should have gotten him out, but nobody wanted to go after him because of political correctness. We just don't talk about somebody's, quote, religion, even if the religion involves beheading infidels and pouring boiling oil down their throats. But he wasn't hiding it. It was a horrible chapter, but if we don't stop covering up what Islam is a violent, I was going to say religion, but it's not a religion. It's a political system. It's a violent political system bent on the overthrow of the governments of the world and world domination. That is the ultimate aim. And they talk about infidels and all this, but the truth is that's what the game is. So you're dealing with not a religion, you're dealing with a political system. And I think we should treat it as such and treat its adherents as such as we would members of the Communist Party or members of some fascist group.
Yeah, keep it classy, Pat. I like that. So all Muslims, according to him, it's not a religion, it's a political movement, we should treat them like they're communists or fascists. So the millions of Muslims in the country, Muslim Americans in the country, well, Pat Robertson thinks that you're the equivalent of communists or fascists, take your pick, either side, and that we should treat you as such. Now, who died and left Pat Robertson king of America? Why does he get to decide who's more American and who's not? And who's a communist and who's a fascist and which religions we should treat differently? How about I say to you, Mr. Pat Robertson, you are a fundamentalist Christian. You're a danger to this country. You believe in a cult that is a dangerous and violent cult. In fact, the cult of Christianity historically has been the single most violent religion on the face of the earth. Indisputable. The Crusades, where they killed thousands upon thousands. The Inquisition, where they stretched people on a rack. They did torture for an endless number of years. The witch hunts, where you boiled witches alive and drowned them and hung them, and let alone Christians that started things like, I don't know, World War I and World War II and the Holocaust. And I could go on and on. The wholesale genocide of the Native Americans, the slavery of Africans in this country. You want to keep going about your violent religion, Mr. Pat Robertson? You know what? I don't think you're quite as American as I am. And I've got to do some sort of, I don't know, there's got to be some sort of test for fundamentalist Christians to prove they're really Americans, because they seem to be part of a political system akin to communism or fascism. And that we need to, as Pat Robertson just said, we need to have a serious discussion about religion. He said we should get into people's religion. Well, I'm in your religion, Pat Robertson. I'm in your face, okay? Your religion is probably, look, as far as I can tell, historically speaking, it seems almost impossible to argue with. Christianity has been by far the most violent religion on the face of the earth in the history of the world. So I can't really trust any of you Christian Americans. So I'm going to convene. I'm going to time to put political correctness aside. I'm with you, Pat. So I'm going to convene a little committee to decide if Christians get to be in the U.S. military anymore, because you guys aren't quite as American as we are, you know. And you've got this violent religious cult that you're a part of. So you know, obviously the government has to look out for you. So hey, Pat, why don't we do a little commission where we consider whether we should keep Christians out of the government, out of the military. Maybe even out of business. I don't know. We'll have to decide how that goes, because they're not really Americans, these Christians. Oh, what? You don't like it when it's about your religion? Oh, you just like to slander other religions and pretend that they're not as American as you are. But when it comes to you, all of a sudden you're offended, right? Oh, no, how dare I ever talk about Christianity? No, but any smearing of Muslims because of one action of one Muslim or a couple of Muslims, and that you smear 1 billion people with it. How about Tim McVeigh, fundamentalist Christian. How about Scott Roeder, fundamentalist Christian that killed Dr. Tiller? How about Nichols, Terry Nichols, also another Christian, white Christian that did the Oklahoma City bombing along with Tim McVeigh? How about Eric Rudolph, the Atlanta bomber, who's another fundamentalist white Christian? And I can go on and on all day long with you folks. We got to watch you. We can't really trust you. You're not quite as American as the rest of us. Now, okay, in case any of you are taking my comments seriously, obviously, Pat Robertson has his head up his ass. And you can't say that Christians should be in a different category and that you don't like their religion, so they are akin to communists or fascists. But just as obviously, you can't do that to Muslims or Jews or Buddhists or Hindus. We're all Americans. And if you don't understand that, Pat Robertson, you don't understand what the country's about, which I'm not surprised by, because you're a goddamn clown. So you want to come for me? I'll come for you. How you like me now?